Hey everybody, it's Steve with Three Fat Truckers. What? Oh no.
Were you listening when I said?
Mom and Dad's
Apparently
fighting.
he wasn't.
We're
Dave's
down
in
here at the
trouble.
2023 Matt's Truck Show in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm here with my two buddies, Dave and Bill. How we doing, fellas?
Fantastic! It's a good show, man. It's been a magical time.
It
Nothing
has.
short of that, for sure.
We've had lots of good interviews down here this week, and this one here by far will be a good one, I'm pretty sure. We're sitting here with Brandy Belton, who represents Truckers Against Trafficking and the Freedom Drivers Project. How we doing?
I'm good. How are you guys all?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Welcome to Three Fat Truckers.
I
Welcome.
appreciate you having me here.
Give us a little information about what you're representing here.
So our organization is a nonprofit that was started in 2009 with a mother and daughter. They felt the need that they wanted to help victims in the lines of human trafficking, and they got together with their church and kind of started with what can we do and where can this go. So it started with truck drivers because they are the eyes and ears of the roadways, and they had more contact with potential victims, whether it be in a parking lot, a rest area, hotel, motel, that they could come into contact with them. So we wanted to start to educate them, and now we've kind of expanded over the years into also the busing industry and the energy sectors and training law enforcement as well. So
Good. What are some tell signs to look for?
Them onions are coming back up.
Yeah.
So some of the red flags we tell you to look for is, say you happen to be in a parking lot or a rest area, or even a motel or hotel, that if you see someone who looks a little disheveled, maybe malnutrition, maybe tattooed or scarred or burned in some type of way, or just abused or bruising, all over the body, those are some, signs of potentially to look for human trafficking. Or if that person's not making direct eye contact with you, or seems to be under the control of someone else. So those are some of the signs that we ask, while you're out on the roads, just everyday traveling or going in and out of a store or a gas station, just to look around and be aware of your surroundings.
And who should somebody report it to? Is there actual call-in line for the organization, or just immediately go to the police, or what?
So yes, if it's a situation that looks like someone is in harm, we ask you call 911 directly, but then afterwards also to report it to the National Human Trafficking Hotline number, which is 1-888-3737-888. Fairly easy number, we try to remember.
1-888-3737-888.
We will
I
link
can
all those
remember that
numbers.
one.
Any
That's saying a lot.
relevant phone numbers and websites and email addresses, we'll link all that in the show notes. I think it's really important, because we're in a lot of places out there. Drivers are all over the place. We come in contact, or we bear witness sometimes to situations that you just get this weird feeling that something ain't right, and it's probably not a good idea to ignore that or to be in denial about that, because it is something that is real, that exists,
Right, and we just ask, even if you are unsure of what it is that you're seeing or what's going on, there's nothing wrong with making a phone call. Even if you turn out to be wrong, the worst thing that you could do is not make the phone call and be wondering, was that really a situation?
And you will, too.
Right.
So, it's okay to be wrong, but you don't want to be the one that doesn't.
Some with our border, so many people coming across the border now.
So
in the past, or
there is a little bit with that. So there are two different crimes, smuggling and trafficking. And
Right.
when, oftentimes when I talk about human trafficking, the term smuggling comes up, which they're incorrectly used interchangeably a lot of times. However, smuggling can turn into a trafficking situation, because once you have a person that comes across the border illegally and they're undocumented, they don't speak the language,
Vulnerable.
they become vulnerable
Right.
to these situations and can fall prey to a trafficker because they have no other means to be able to support themselves.
right.
So we just
fall right into the.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is against our industry, but do you have problems, or have you run into problems with truck drivers in trafficking? Do you see a lot of that coming up? Because I'm going to say they're everywhere. I'm not trying to say that they're not, but they are everywhere, you know.
So I personally have not encountered that situation, and probably with just about anything in life, there's always one bad apple in the bunch.
Right.
But we have more great stories from truck drivers that have made calls, that have helped recover victims, help bring them home.
Well, that's
Thank
fantastic.
God we
That's
got a
what we
plus
want to
result.
concentrate on.
Yes, thank God guys are stepping up and doing something, because we hear 90%
I was
of negative.
curious as to what level of involvement we've seen with truck drivers being on the negative side of that story.
Yeah,
And-
I'm just going to say there's more positive than there is
I
negative.
Well,
know a
then-
lot of guys, and the stereotypical is the guy and girl. But if you get stopped out on the highway, if you ever broke down a car, 90% of the chance, some truck driver will usually stop and see what, when, where, how. If you're stranded, if the weather's bad, you know. If it's a normal thing, they won't. But I mean, if there's conditions, they will take, because they all have wives, daughters, sons at home. And if something would happen to them, they want to know somebody's at least watching out for them. And that's what truck drivers had a better reputation at, and then it fell off, and hopefully it's starting to come back now, where we're getting a little better representation out there. than just the
Absolutely.
typical,
Yes, yes.
get out of my way! Stupid four-wheelers holding us up,
There
you
you
know.
So I think you might have said, but I'm going to ask you, how old is the organization? When was it started?
So organization started in 2009.
2009.
So we've been around for
I
a
was getting ready
while.
to say since the turn of the century.
You guys, where are you guys located at? Do they have a main office?
We
or
do not have a main office. We all work remotely.
I got a garage out
Remotely.
in-
remotely?
Yeah. We are a small but mighty team of less than 20.
Okay.
We cover from west to east coast, north and south. We are located everywhere. So
Sure, I can't interested in that garage. I got it. You can call it your main office, a little place.
I mean, I could call my house the main office too, but you know,
Hang it.
I call my basement.
He's
the
just wanting a
studio.
tax write-off.
he wants a job. That's what it is.
No, I'm
He
trying
wanna
to
come
get
and
some
work
money
with us.
out of it. I
Tax
write off
a
my
tax
garage.
write-off, huh?
You know, I have to fix a hole or two in the wall, but
Yes,
whatever.
but we are strictly a nonprofit. We are not, granted by the
Sure.
government in any type of way. So.
Do you have any numbers on how many people you guys have helped year to date kind of deal at all, or not?
So we get those numbers from the National Nonprofit Polaris report, and it's not always like up to date, up to the minute, but
Well, just off the top of your head, the ones that are reported a year, I mean, is it in the
Six.
thousands,
it's
tens of thousands, or less? Or
we don't have an exact number. What I will say is, truck drivers have made thousands of calls in, but a lot of the calls we don't get a report on directly that's made to the 911 or into law enforcement.
Sure.
We don't get those numbers, and they're not tracked by National Nonprofit Polaris, but we know that thousands of calls have been made, and we don't always get the end story.
Yeah.
Which
You
we
can't have a direct number like
yeah. So I
six.
don't. Yeah.
now, have you had anybody that was reported and ended up saved their life, brought them out of the trafficking part? Do you guys have people that come to you and give you
More
testimony?
specifically, prolonged.
Yeah, but give you some
periods of
testimonials
time.
and stuff that
We-
what happened to me
We
was
do
because
have
of what you guys do.
Several truck drivers and a few truck stops that have actually made calls in that resulted in the recovery of victims. One in particular, his name is Kevin Kimmel, used to be a Conway truck driver who, was at a Virginia truck stop one day and noticed something wasn't right. An RV that was just out of sorts, shouldn't have been there, made the call to law enforcement. It resulted in recovering a young woman who is 20 years old, had been kidnapped from Iowa 2 weeks prior to all of this
Wow.
happening, and him making that call and just happened to be there in the right place in the right time.
That's awesome.
That's an
She ended
excellent
up getting
story.
home, and he testified, and they're now serving 40 and 41 years in prison. So
Good.
we do have an award that we do give out to any industry member who makes one of those calls, and it results in a story like that, called the Harriet Tubman Award, which is the highest award we give, to any
need
industry
a ladder?
member. What's that?
Need a ladder.
A ladder?
Give 'em a little
Highest,
higher.
yeah.
I mean, we want to put you up on that pedestal and make sure that we are recognizing all the drivers
Well,
out there who are
I'm
who are
going
helping
to
this
speak
cause.
for everybody at this table.
No,
which
you're not.
They're going to hate that.
No.
And I'm going to speak for everybody in this room right now. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you guys
Yes,
for having me here.
I'm sure it's pretty rewarding actually getting stories back when something goes right.
But
as far as
you can't
through
live
your guys'
on the
channels.
stories. You got to keep doing the mission because you don't get to
Yes.
see the whole thing. You don't get to see the victims who
No.
did it. All you get to see is that it's moving on and somebody was saved.
I wonder if that might be a good thing. You know, because
It's
sometimes
trauma.
people,
It's
yeah.
trauma to people.
It is, you know, and even with my program at TAG, I travel with a 48-foot mobile exhibit called the Freedom Drivers Project, and it's actually
They
fully
couldn't find a
renovated.
53-footer, could they?
I know we couldn't. We're working on that, though.
All right.
We're working on a second one here.
All right. 53, we'll hook you up, maybe.
All right. But it's fully renovated inside with artifacts from survivors who donated them to us with stories that go along with all of these artifacts that gives a real bird's eye view of what that looks like. And on our website, you can take a virtual tour of it, but it's a little different when you actually see it in person. So we're hoping to have the trailer here next year.
Sweet.
And then you guys come and walk through.
I'd
I
rather
bet we
skip.
will.
Well, hey, Brandy, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your day to share your story and promote Truckers Against Trafficking. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the show, what's left of it. We're about getting to the end of it here.
Appreciate you. Thank you very much, Steve.
You.
Dave. Bill.
hands.
I know, my hands are freezing.
And out.
I survived. That's because I know truck driver language.
See, I wasn't bad with you at all, was I?